Give it up for the manual. Jordan Freed, everybody.
I went to get a haircut the other day, and the lady said that I had nice hair, so I just walked out.
Finally, TV, here we are. It is your boy Gabriel back with another episode of Voice of the Valley. And remember, don't just dream, inspire. Don't just imagine, create, and just don't believe, achieve. That's the mantra right here on Finally TV. As I say, we got this episode coming. A talented individual. Sir, introduce yourself.
I'm Jordan Freed. I'm a comedian and filmmaker from Warwick, New York.
Okay, there we go, man. Well, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, I had reached out on Facebook and was asking for some comedians and talented people to hit me up, and you're one of the first ones. So I commend you on the reaching out and wanting to promote yourself in front of the audience.
Yeah, and Smash was hyping it up a lot to all the comedians in the scene. He's like, "Yo, there's this guy. He's finally TV. You gotta go.
That's a really good impression of that's like kind of how he sounds. That's pretty good.
Bro, it's the best stuff. He's bringing TV.
Yeah. Bringing TV to the Hudson Valley, Shout out and Smash,
And
man.
Smash, grinding. He's a young guy.
He is, and I didn't even notice that up front. He came on the show, we started talking, and he's like, yeah, I'm 21. I'm like, really? And it's like, I would never, no, not that you look old, but great guy though. So, and I'm glad the connection was there. I think that's actually how you came up as a suggestion for me.
Yeah.
Through the connection with him. So, nice to have you on. So, let's get into the show. Where were you born, man? What brings you to Hudson Valley?
I was born at Good Sam, lived in Congers for like the first 4-ish years of my life.
Okay.
Then I moved to Warwick when I was 5, then lived there most of my life.
Gotcha. And when you say Good Sam, I think he means the Good Samaritan.
Yeah, and suffering. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Congers is what, Rockland County?
Yeah, that's Rockland County.
Okay.
I don't really have a lot of memories of that.
Yeah.
It's just,
It was just a little seed.
Yeah, basically.
So tell us why you're here today, man.
Yeah, I have been doing comedy for the last 6 years.
Okay.
And I saw what you were doing with this, and I think it's a really cool thing to really engage the people of the Hudson Valley and show them that they can have entertainment in their backyard.
Right.
Like, the only difference between a city and the Hudson Valley is that the Hudson Valley is spread out.
Yeah.
Like,
we
have
prettier.
Yeah.
It's prettier here.
Oh yeah.
The scenery is much prettier than the city. No, but I commend you again coming on and bigging up the show and supporting it and all that good stuff. And remember, subscribe, get your t-shirts, do all that good stuff. But the idea here is networking and keeping it moving, right? And putting a real spotlight on the Hudson Valley. So, so you're saying comedy, filmmaking, all that good stuff. When did you realize what the passion was, man?
I think I started getting introduced to comedy at a pretty young age. I did this organization in Warwick Valley Schools called Odyssey of the Mind. They have it all over the country. And basically you just get prompt, and you have to create an 8-minute skit. You have to write the script. You have to build the set. You have to get the costumes and do all that stuff. And you're not really supposed to have any parental help or adult help.
Oh wow!
So from a very young age, I got into producing these shows because that's what the club was. Yeah. And we were pretty good. Yeah. We made states a couple of times in middle school, and I did it in elementary school. Yeah. And then I think I saw Zach Galifianakis live at the Purple Onion. On Netflix, right when they started streaming, back when they had nothing. People were just oh, this sucks. They had Friday Night Lights and Lost, and that was it.
Right.
But that special showed me what stand-up comedy could be.
Okay.
I'd always been around it. I definitely gotten into Dane Cook because it was on iTunes, and I was cool, this is an 8-minute song for 99 cents. Such a good deal.
Right. The value's there. So with comedy, you chose that route as an outlet because you find that life can get a little crazy and has a lot of quirkiness to it from what we were gathering before our earlier conversation. But why comedy though? Why do you pick comedy as your tool of expression?
Oh, like, I think people have made fun of me my whole life. Like, it's weird because just growing up in Warwick, you don't really get a perspective of, like, the outside world because it's a very homogenous town. Like, there are people of color in Warwick, but, like, it's also a very white town. Like, I was one of, like, 7 Jews in, like, the whole town. So, like, that became a thing, and, like, people are always making jokes about pennies and, like, the Holocaust and stuff to me, and I'm just like, whoa, like, and you could get hurt by it, and, like, you could get, like, really upset by it, or you could get in on the joke and get ahead of them and make the joke before them.
Right. That's the whole 8 Mile Eminem effect.
Yeah,
you know, it's
exactly.
Like before Eminem and 8 Mile, I'm assuming. That's cool, man. I get it. I think the way to the heart, the way to real happiness, truly is laughter.
Yeah.
You know, I really believe that. I think that the world without comedic performances and people wanting to make you laugh would be a really dull, boring place. You know, and we would never really get the true meaning of happiness without big smiles and those laughs that you can't control. So, you know, I appreciate the craft as you guys move on, and all of you and Smash, anybody who wants to do comedy. I feel like you're doing like a public service, you know, you know, in a different way than music, you know, and it's kind of why I wanted a comedian on today, because we've been going down the music route a lot. You know, and you know, music does touch the soul and it does make the world go round, but so does laughter. So I needed to balance it out a little bit. So that's why you're here. Yeah,
it's also it's interesting because I feel like laughter really brings people up. Not saying like I'm a genius, but like laughter brings you up. It's like a certain type of intelligence, because like you have to get like what is actually going on and what's supposed to be the normal thing, and then you're like, oh, they're subverting it, you know? And especially like in the times that we're in right now, like irony is kind of dying because people are having everything that they say taken so literally.
Yeah, it's true. Just, you know, smile, nod, and keep it moving. Stop getting so butthurt, everybody. Anyway, so, you know, you said early on in life you noticed that you had this passion, elementary school and all that. But how long have you been actively pursuing these dreams once you got inspired?
Yeah, so like I started making videos and stuff for like school projects in school, and then my parents were awesome and like got me enrolled in like this 1 week like New York Film Academy thing to kind of see like, oh, do you like really want to do this? Like try it out. And I did that 1 week course and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like I want to be on sets. And then like I PA'd on this small film that's on Amazon right now. It's called I think it's called The Adventures of Sweet Yellow now. No, Love on the Run. They changed the name like 4 times. Yeah, it started out as like Franny, then it went to Love on the Run. It's directed by Ash Christian, who's like a really good dude. Like I was just like this 17-year-old kid, and I walked up to a bank in Florida, New York, and saw that there were lights going in. And I was like, oh, like I wonder what's going on. And I walked up, and the best boy, who's like a lighting guy, he was outside, and I was like, hey, like, are they shooting something here? Like, I'm interested in film. Like, and he was just like, oh yeah, like, let me call up the producer. Like, maybe you could intern on this. And then he just called up the producer that I was talking to the producer.
Wow. Okay.
And she was like, yeah, can you come in like next week? And I skipped school like 1 or 2 days, like before Thanksgiving break, and just like worked on this film and was like working with the wardrobe guy, working with like the culinary guy, like locking down sets and like running on errands. It was like a month into getting my license, but they were like, oh, do you have a car? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And like, they're asking me to like back up like big trucks. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. I'm an experienced driver.
Meanwhile, you're sweating bullets. No, I get it. So 2 things there. So how long has it been? You said you were about 16, 17. How old are you now?
I am 23 now.
Okay, so very good.
And then I went off to Tulane University in New Orleans and studied digital media production. Gotcha. Which was, I guess, like my formal training.
Gotcha. And just real quick, tell them in the camera, where can they find that on Amazon right now? What is it now?
I just PA'd on it, but we can still shout out a film that was shot here. It's called Love on the Run. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm gonna be in the credits, honestly. But like Ash Christian, good queer filmmaker. He's a good dude. Yeah, really making a lot of films that people aren't making.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, all right. So then, since then, how far have you come along? You know, materializing all this stuff.
Yeah, so it's been a long journey. Like, it's kind of weird because like it was like so like bam, bam, bam. But like in high school, I auditioned for my school's talent show sophomore year for comedy. I didn't make it. Didn't practice at all. Like, didn't rehearse. And then the next year I came back, wrote jokes, like tried to bounce them off my friends who were great and like supportive with that, and like went up there, told the jokes, got the people to laugh, and they were like, oh, we never have comedians, like I guess we'll do this. Okay. So they put me in the talent show, and that was the biggest crowd that any comedian in the Hudson Valley has probably performed for, because it's like a talent show in a huge high school auditorium, and like I've never come close to performing for that many people, but I've been doing it ever since. And it's like, it's been a struggle to go from like a high school auditorium where it's so many people, where like the laughs are magnified, to the next month when I started doing open mics and stuff and actually like putting in the work of being a comedian. You're performing for like 5 people. They're not laughing at anything. Like you're eating crap for like 12 minutes, because like that's what some of the early open mics were in the Hudson Valley.
Yeah. I've been to a couple, and some of them teeter still on that, and some of them it's sometimes a little hit or miss. But these Hudson Valley folks, you know, go to these open mics, you know, especially if you find one that's like right up your genre. You know, you like rock or something like that. There's a bunch of, you know, places doing open mics that host a bunch of rock players, you know what I'm saying? There's some that, you know, host, like the Laugh It Up, I think it's called, at Mahoney's, you know? Like
Mahoney's is great.
Yeah, where it's specifically comedy. So all you Hudson Valley people, go enjoy these open mics. Supporting it just means showing up, buying a beer or two, and, you know, just listening. You know, if they hear something you like, keep it moving, you know, tell a friend type deal. So that's how we're going to get this going.
And open mics are great because you get to see people really experiment, and you're like, you get the feeling that you're in the right place at the right time. Like you're seeing something special happen. People are really finding out who they are as artists.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. So you had mentioned earlier though, so you've been doing more and more open mics. You've been performing at clubs. You want to shout out any of the clubs that you've been at?
Yeah, no, I recently did the late night show at Levity Live, which was produced through Slaughter Stand Up. Slaughter Stand Up is like an organization in the lower Hudson Valley that's been booking a lot of stand-up shows, and they like really jump-started the scene. Like when there was nothing going on, this dude Eric Albert got a room at Characters in Sloatsburg, and he really cultivated this scene where it was like a monthly show, and then on top of that monthly show, he started this competition, the Slaughter Stand-Up Showdown, and he invites 64 comics from all the way up in Albany, all the way down to like northern New Jersey and New York City, and it just brings the scene together so that everybody can see what's going on. And he's been doing that contest for like 5 or 6 years now. And it really just shows that there's a community and shows people like, oh, these are the people who are doing really well. Like get on their level, like work harder, like there's stuff to do. Like
I see that. So all right, so doing that, and then you mentioned you have a website. Let's tell the people about the website.
Yeah, my website is freezerburnt.com, and with all of like my freeze stuff, my Twitter handle is jfreeze. It's FREEEZE. There's one extra E because the normal J Freeze was taken.
Oh no.
Yeah. So my website Freezer Burnt is the same way, the 3 E's in the freeze.
Okay.
And you can find all of my shows, my videos, any sketches I've ever done, really. Okay. It's all there.
Gotcha. So I'm sure that's on screen somewhere while you've been saying that. I try to always promote.
Heck yeah.
So check his website out and make sure you're subscribed to Finally TV if you're watching this right now. So we talked a little bit about a couple of comedians that you saw in life early on that kind of inspired you, but what were the main inspirations for all this? Who are you looking at saying, I want to do that?
There were a lot of films, especially like when I was younger. Like I said with the Netflix thing, like that really impacted me because I was just like this lonely kid who would just sit at home and watch movies, and that was the first time that movies were so like readily available. So I like grew up on like really independent film, and like some of the bigger filmmakers that have really like connected with me and made me want to be a filmmaker are like the Charlie Kaufmans, like the Coen brothers type people. Early on, like I was just like, whoa, like this just blew my mind. Like, how did you guys know this? Like, what?
Like, exactly. Like, how did you know how to say that? You know,
exactly.
Like, you know,
and just like the magic trick of creating a film that ties itself together at the end, and just that satisfaction of being like, whoa, like I'm not going to be the same after watching that.
Right. No, I get it. Sometimes it's true. You know, you watch certain things as an individual. You have, you know, interest in certain things. Then you watch something unfold and puts you onto this whole different perspective of something that you like. You know, whether it's comedy, music, even business ownership. Sometimes you see something, you're like, I could do something like that, but twist it. You know, and then that's how the greatest things are born. You know, so I got you.
And I started watching Mitch Hedberg a lot, and that definitely influenced my styles, and taught me how to be a joke writer, because like I think he's one of the greatest joke writers of all time.
Yeah, I have a good buddy. Shout out Brian Sable out there. He's a big Mitch Hedberg fan, you know. And when I was telling him I was having you on the show, he was like, he's gonna be funny because that's like one of the best people. So, no, I get it. I really do get it. One thing I like to do on Voice of the Valley is kind of take people out of their own comfort zone, right? So we're talking about comedy and filmmaking, but I like to introduce you to the audience and let them know a little bit more about you. So what's like a favorite activity or sport that you might be doing if it's not filmmaking, comedy, and such?
I grew up loving baseball, and I played baseball my whole life. Wasn't really good when I was young, and then like got good when it was like too late. So I was just playing in like Little League as like a 17-year-old, like hitting home runs, and I was just like, okay, like this doesn't matter. Like it's just going into the void.
They all expect me to hit home run right here. I'm the biggest kid on the team.
Yeah.
You know?
But like I like watching the Mets, and like that's some good stuff. And like honestly, I just like exploring places and walking around and just like seeing new things and just trying out things.
Gotcha. I find that a lot of creative people like people watching. You a people watcher?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think I just also like meeting people.
Okay.
Like I had this friend, and like he used to meet people and like pick their brain for 2 hours, and then like would barely say anything to them for like the rest of the time that he knew them. But I really do enjoy that like initial meeting of somebody and like getting to know kind of what makes people tick.
Sure. People are very intriguing.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're open-minded, you know, you can definitely learn something just by talking to people, you know.
Yeah.
So what's if Jordan is hungry and you can only have that one meal, what's the meal you going to? What food? What's your favorite food?
Oh, buffalo wings for sure.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, there's no question.
Boneless or bone-in?
Oh, bone-in, and the flavor's so much better.
Okay.
Although I say that, and like I've dabbled in like being a vegetarian, veganism. Like I'm trying to convert, kind of, because I feel like that's the future. Like you got to get into the plants. We're gonna run out of meat, and it's like inhumane, and they're packing chemicals, and like they don't have nutrients anymore. But that is definitely my guilty pleasure and my passion.
Gotcha. So we mentioned people watching. We mentioned, you know, walking around new places. And you might have done some traveling, I'm not sure, but what's a favorite place of yours to go, whether it be local or abroad? What if I ask you, what's a favorite place of yours besides home? Everybody loves home.
Yeah.
What's a favorite place for you?
Well, I'd say Dublin has a special place in my heart because I studied abroad there for a month after my sophomore year of college. And I just studied James Joyce and like Irish film, and I had classes 2 days of the week, and they started at noon. and it was the first time I was ever legal to drink anywhere.
Okay.
So it was a very interesting month. Yeah.
Is that why they started at 12? Because they know everybody's getting wrecked the night before?
No, well, like the people who were taking the art classes and the history classes had to get up early, but it was like the English majors like had to wait until the afternoon.
A bunch of drunks are up late, you know.
Yeah.
Them later in the day.
Like we were touring around random places in Dublin, and we would stay in hotels, and like once we would get back from like the day's activities, we would go out, and like most of the people on the trip would like go to bed.
Yeah.
And like there were just like 4 of us on that trip who would basically close out like the hotel bar every night.
Yeah.
And like we just made it like we're gonna talk, like we're gonna enjoy this month, like we only have 1 month in Dublin, like let's just stay up as long as possible and do as much as possible.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know? You're the second person I've had on the show that mentioned Germany. Now I'm thinking I need to go to Germany and go.
No, Ireland, bro.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it's my bad.
No, you're good.
No, but, Europe just seems to be a good place too. It's I hear a lot of things. I've been to Greece, and I really like Greece a lot, you know. And I had another gentleman on Dash Blackout. He mentioned Germany. Now you're talking about Ireland, and actually Stewart Airport flies you directly to Ireland now. You know, so it's cheap too and all that. So that might have to be a place to go. All right, cool. So now that we got my geography lesson out of the way, what's a pet peeve of Jordan Freed right now?
Okay. Like one thing I hate is like when people don't give people the benefit of the doubt, like early on. Like I don't like people who jump to like hate early. Like I like to have people give me a reason to hate them before, and like I understand that. I understand hating people. Like you have to like cut people out of your life if you like need to. You have to like not have toxic forces in your life. But I think a lot of people jump to conclusions, judge people too quickly, make assumptions, and like a lot of people are just trying to connect with people and like be friends with people and like would be willing to compromise on a lot of things in their lives if they just had somebody who talked to them like a person and respected them like a person. Sure.
You didn't mention it early on, but is there a line of advice that, you know, you live by that kind of, you know, is like your reset, like, oh, I have to remember this. Is there something like that in your life that you go back on?
Yeah, like there's been a lot of good advice. Like, do you mean more professionally or just like in my life in general?
I think just in life, because your personal life kind of gets conveyed out to your personal life gets conveyed into your professional life. So, is there something in your personal life that you kind of live by that's helping you professionally?
Yeah, I think like actually I've definitely like strayed away from this thinking in the last year, just like had some mental health shit or stuff going on. And but like something that helped me a lot in my life is just like don't get upset about things out of your control. And like once something has happened and you can't do anything about it, you just have to be better and like make sure that you don't make the same mistakes. Like that's why we're living, to make the mistakes and then learn from them and be better. And I think that's kind of what I try to do is better myself.
Yeah, the operative phrase in there is, you know, making mistakes and learning from them. You
know,
I think if everybody could do that, everybody would be better. But it's hard. I'm not saying, you know, anybody out there who keeps, you know, stubbing their toe and stuff, I'm not talking about you personally, but if you can learn from your mistakes, you will get better. It's a natural course of action and progression, you know.
And it's tough because like people are taught to like in school you're taught be confident, like tell people like the answer, like you're supposed to have the answer. Like if you are writing a paper, if you're doing that, you're supposed to assert that like you know what you're talking about. And I think that's something that like a lot of society is coming to terms with now, is like this need to step back and like examine yourself constantly, even after you think like, oh wow, like I really was bad back then, and it's like you still could be bad, and it's like you could always be better, and like you can always be like making yourself a better person and listening to other people and just trying to understand. You know.
No, I get it 100%. my favorite question on Voice of the Valley is coming up right now.
Oh, sweet.
And everybody knows what my favorite question is. But you may have touched on it already, but tell us about a time that you felt like a star or you felt famous, in your profession.
Yeah. Like the talent show was definitely a big deal because it was the biggest crowd that I'll ever perform for in a lot of ways. Like hopefully one day I'll be in Madison Square Garden. Yeah. But like until I'm like good enough that I could sell out a theater, like that's never going to happen. Yeah. And like other than that, I was in the sketch comedy group in college. We were called Cat Mafia Comedy. We were actually called Etch a Sketch Comedy, but we had to change the name because we got a cease and desist notice from the Ohio Art Company.
Copyright infringement.
Yeah. So then we changed to Cat Mafia Comedy, and that was an organization where we would write for the whole semester and then eventually pick the sketches that we liked, and then we would cast them and put on a show every semester. And we did like 4 shows usually, and they would be like an 8 o'clock and a 10 o'clock show on Friday and Saturday. And there was a campus bar like right by Tulane, the Boot. And it was 3-for-1 triple shot drinks at this bar on Fridays.
One way to make you laugh.
And we would say, hey, everybody, come at 7, reserve your tickets, and then go over to the Boot and get these 3-for-1 drinks. So people are coming in like 3 shots in, they're carrying in their drinks, their boxes of Franzia. And like we would pack in this like 75 person room to like 115 people, and there was no feeling like it. Just performing these sketches and getting into character and just feeling the heat of the audience and just feeling the breath and the laughs and how like it would explode because everybody was so packed in there and just having such a good time.
It's a great feeling, and one of the things that makes me love that question so much is that watching the people who I'm asking it light up. Yeah. About that situation. And it's really why I asked the question, because that feeling that you had, we're going to make sure you get that feeling 100 times over. That's the whole thing with Finally TV and promoting and networking and all that good stuff. But I can see how you light up thinking about it. So the passion's there.
And it's cool because like when you're doing sketch or when you're doing improv, you really get to like enjoy the successes with other people. And like you really get to say like, yo, we did this. This was fun. And like stand up is different in that way because like you get off the stage and like you could have killed and like people might come up to you, but like it's also isolating because you're like, I get off stage, it's like people are gonna come up to me and like, what do I say? Like, oh, like thanks, sorry, yeah, like I do this.
They say the life of a comedian is kind of lonely. They say that you're on the road a lot, and like you said, you come off stage and it's like, okay, I'm off stage now. They might buy like some merchandise or something like that. But then, you're back eating by yourself. You're back on the road. You might be busting it. You might be driving yourself, whatever the case may be. So it's a grind. So that's why I say I always have a great respect and admiration for comedians and solo artists doing their thing, because it can be a lonely road, and sometimes the gratification isn't there unless you're on stage killing it, doing your thing. It's like that's the moment that you all the time spent doing all that stuff. The travel, the writing, the preparation, all culminates to that, 12-minute set that you have on stage, and it's like when you really love something, that those 12 minutes are everything, so so I get it. You've mentioned websites, you've mentioned Twitter, but look into the camera. Where can the people find you, man?
You can find me at JFreeze, JFREEEZE. That's Instagram, Twitter. I post a lot of cooking stuff on Instagram, Twitter. I'll post jokes and stuff when I'm not feeling sad. And also you can check out on YouTube Wings, directed by Jordan Freed. That was my short film I did in college, and that's on my website. It's also on Wings, directed by Jordan Freed, the link on like Facebook. If you just search that on Facebook, you could go to the page and the film is there.
Okay.
And that was a really fun experience to close out my Tulane education.
Gotcha.
And had some really talented actors who really gave me some good performances.
Yeah. And you want to continue in that field? You want to do more movies and things of that nature?
Yeah, like ideally, the end goal, I guess, would be to like direct films, write films, and just be around it and like kind of flow from project to project and whatever I'm feeling in life, be able to do that because I have different things going on. That's the goal. Yeah.
So, party people, if you've been listening, I need you to go to his website, check out his YouTube, check out, what is it called? What's the film called?
Wings.
Okay,
Yeah.
so check that out on YouTube. I'm sure everything is on screen right now. But check him out. Make sure you're subscribing to Finally TV to see more people like Jordan Freed come on the show. So support. Subscribe. You have anything else you want to tell the people, man?
Just come out and support local comedy. I have shows coming up. The 14th, I'm doing a show that's going to be an open mic at Eddie's Roadhouse in Warwick, New York.
Okay.
And that's a new venue, and it's a pretty cool location. They have a lot of good food there, good beers.
Okay.
And then Friday night, I'm doing, is this coming out next week? This week?
This will come out this week.
Okay, cool. The 15th, I'm going to be at Wits End Tavern in Unionville.
Okay.
And then Saturday night, my improv troupe, The Mutts, premieres at Rhino Comedy Club in Suffern. And this is like an up-and-coming comedy club, which you guys could all check out. Rhinos Are Funny, with underscores in between. Rhinos Are Funny on Instagram, and they also have a Facebook page where they post all of their events, Rhino Comedy, and they're also trying to get a comedy empire off the ground, and they really want people to come out, and the shows are amazing. Like, there was a show last night, Saturday night, with Ryan Danisco headlining, and he did like 55 minutes, and it was a cool room. There were a lot of like alternative things going on, and he had a bunch of great comics on the show. It was produced by Andy McDermott, who does a lot of stuff upstate, and it's cool because everybody's kind of flowing together. I did a show at Milkweed recently, and there's probably going to be more shows, and that's like a show called Good Host, Bad Host, where we're going to have like videos and stuff. Comedians want to make stuff for you guys. They want to do cool stuff. They want to make projects. Like, I'm doing like a new stuff at this like Good Host, Bad Host show. Like, there's this punch up show at the Rhino Comedy Club in Suffern that Jimmy McDonald runs, and like that show has people telling stories, and comedians like make fun of it as it's going on, and there's just a lot of things going on. So if you see a comedy event, know that it's probably going to be good. Look for these names that you've heard on the show. The people want to give you great content, and they want outlets to make it.
There you go. All right, party people. Another episode of Voice of the Valley in the bag, episode number 10. He is Jordan Freed. I am Gabriel. Subscribe. Finally TV, we out.